Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Wednesday, the 17th of... Is it the 17th? Yeah, the 17th of January. Still don't know what date it is, but I'm delighted to say we're joined by Chris Jack. It was a late shift for you, Chris, a late one at Ibrox last night and an early start, but you're here as professional as ever. How's it going?
Not too bad, not bad. As you say, it was a late finish. By the time the manager did his presser last night, had some technical issues that were out with our control. Not myself, not my fault, not Johnny's fault. So I think about 11:30 or so by the time I got away from Ibrox last night. But there's plenty of content across the channel. The manager's Q&A is there as well. Rabbi Matondo's Q&A will be on the site later on as well. So there's plenty of reaction, and I thought it was a really interesting presser from the manager. There's certainly plenty to be getting into as friendlies go. It was one of the more interesting ones overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Rangers 2-apiece with FC Copenhagen at the cold Ibrox last night. We'll touch on that shortly. Just a quick word for our podcast sponsors, the MPH Group. If you want some home improvements, folks, or even a new boiler, then these are the guys to call. The all-important links are in the description below. They've got flexible finance options available. They've got some great deals on as well. So do go and give them a call or an email or a connection, whatever you like to do. They've got all the social media accounts in the description below. Right, okay, so Rangers taking on FC Copenhagen last night. It was good to see Brian Laudrup, incidentally, coming back to Ibrox. 2-apiece, as I mentioned. A fantastic goal in the first half from Rabbi Matondo. Cyril Dessers also with a neat finish in the second half. However, Rangers losing two sort of carbon copy goals from set pieces, which will no doubt concern the support. Sloppy defending, you've got to say, from Rangers with the goals that were conceded. I know it's a friendly, but you don't want to make a habit of that. What did you make of the game and overall, Chris? A worthwhile exercise, do you think?
I think so. I thought we learned more from last night than we did on Saturday. Saturday's one was not a classic, shall we say, as games go. It was fairly boring and fairly dull and low-key stuff over in Spain. It was really just an exercise to get people going again, try and get some minutes in the legs, try and get people back up to some form of fitness and sharpness. I thought the first hour or so last night, Rangers were good. As soon as the raft of changes come, it takes the momentum, it takes the flow out of the game, and I think it's hard to really take too much from that last half hour. I thought that the two goals, as you say, Derek, were sloppy to concede. That's an issue on the back of the goal we lost against Berlin at the weekend. Clearly something that has to be worked on, because losing set piece goals, they're so easily avoidable. And if everybody does their job, if the setup's correct and everybody then fulfills their role within that setup, you shouldn't be losing 3 set piece goals in the space of 2 games. So that's definitely a concern, but overall not a massive one, because it certainly wasn't the first choice centre half pairing last night, and also not the first choice goalkeeper when those goals were conceded either. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I thought going forward there were some nice moments. I thought Silva looked okay in spells. You could see what he's going to bring to the side. A really nice goal, and Ridvan does brilliantly in the middle of the pitch. He had a couple of nice moments in the first half. Does really well to win the ball, sets Matondo free. Really composed finish, the type of finish that we'd like to see more of, rather than the one that he put 40 yards wide with a lob just a few minutes beforehand. Big Dessers again took his goal well. That will hopefully do his confidence another nice turn. So I think there was definitely things to make it worthwhile. And as you say, Brian Laudrup's back at Ibrox any night when Brian's back on the pitch is always going to be a special one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Lots to talk about, and there's lots of comments coming just on that defence. Angus says it was the reserve defence. People are going way over the top about it. Stephen gets in touch as well. Morning, Stephen. Last 3 goals conceded, all at the near post from a corner. Something we need to sharpen up on. And I got a message last night. I can't remember who it was from, but a subscriber saying, or a viewer saying, we need to discuss Rangers' offensive corners, Chris. I think we've discussed this on many shows before. I would like to see more variety in them. I don't think they do they train enough on corners. It's clear that they don't, because they seem to be pretty much the same outswinger. I think I would like to see more variation in the corners. Would you agree?
I would. I think it's definitely an area of potential improvement for Rangers. We saw during the Gerrard reign, also the work that went on at both ends of the pitch to improve Rangers as a set piece side. I'm sure it's something the manager will be focusing on. I think it's probably a piece for Josh to get himself into. It sounds like a type of piece where there's lots of pictures and lots of wee graphics and lots of arrows and stuff. So I think that's one for if Josh to certainly get himself into. But in general, I think it is something that Rangers could be doing better from. And obviously they've got enough height in the side. The centre halves carry a lot of threat. Know that Golson and Balogun can be good in there. I said Suter and Davies are not exactly small guys. If they're in the side as well, there should be enough people there to get on the end of these. And we've got someone like Tav who we know can be so effective from dead ball situations. Also, Barisic can do it. Also, Cantwell, you'd imagine. Ben Davies can go and put a corner in if he fancies rolling back the line. So a blast from the past. But I think it's certainly something that Rangers could certainly improve on, and I'm sure it's something the manager will be kind of working on and have on his rather lengthy to-do list at present.
Yeah, I remember asking Tavernier about this, whether they work enough in corners. I think it was after the St Johnstone game when under Gio, if you remember, Rangers had about 600 corners in the first 15 minutes, and they were all aimless, not hitting their man. And he did say they did score a goal from the second phase in one. And he did tell me that the Rangers did work on them, but it's clear that they need to do more. It's a big thing, set pieces in the game. You can get a number of goals from them, as we've seen last night with Copenhagen. So I think it's something that I would like to see Rangers work more on. Some questions coming in here, just on the striking situation from Maka, directed at yourself, Chris. He says, do you think Silva has that clinical edge? Says it all when Dessers scores, missed the sitter, stayed on side and got man of the match.
He probably got man of the match for staying on side. That was quite an I thought he took his goal well last night. Hopefully, as it gives him another wee boost. Is he going to be the main man between now and the end of the season? I wouldn't have thought so. Do I want him to start at Easter Road next midweek? No. But he is going to have a part to play over the course of the season. But he should be second string now to Silva. He's come in with a big reputation, also big price tags previously. I thought last night he showed he's got a nice turn of pace. He can link the play well. I thought he dropped into some nice areas. Does he look like the type of guy who is a Chris Boyd style penalty box striker? No. Does he look like the type of guy who could score 25 goals a season if he was here for a whole year? I would say no, but I think he's clearly going to bring something to the side. He's clearly a good player. Obviously got a lot of natural talent, or otherwise he wouldn't have played for the clubs that he has and gone for the money that he has. And it's still very, very early in his Rangers career, even for Rangers fans who like to make snap judgments on players. He's played about 10 minutes or so of a league game, then has 45 minutes in a bounce game that, as we said earlier on, was very hard to take anything from. And then he got an hour or so last night, again, in a friendly. I don't think he looks... He's also not a number 9 target man, but that's not why he's been brought in. That's not his strengths. That's not why the manager has recruited him. He's going to be played more regularly as a number 9. That's the area of the pitch that Rangers need strengthening in. I would like to see another one coming in just to give that forward line a bit more threat. But I think we've seen enough from Silva to say he's clearly got something. The boy is a good player. Let's not dismiss him and completely write him off after 100 minutes or so of proper football. So there's still plenty more to come from him. Easter Road next week, and Rangers going and win the game and cut the gap at the top of the table. I'm sure all the people who are have their doubts on him and are saying he's not a striker, he's not this, he's not that. Ultimately, he'll be judged on what he produces, number of chances he creates, number of goals he scores. Then people can make a bit more of a solid judgment on him.
Yeah, I've got to say I would like to see another striker in before Rangers do go to Easter Road, just to allay any concerns Rangers have up top. Let's discuss what Philippe Clement had to say in his post-match press conference. A lot of interesting takeaways. We'll touch on injuries first of all, Chris. It's something that has plagued Rangers for the last few years. There's no doubt about it. He gave an update on Ben Davis, who we haven't seen for a while. He says he is still injured. He's working individually with the physios, but he's not there yet to train with the group. I expected him back this week, but it's not the case. The medical staff work with the players and some recover really fast, others a little bit slower. Then talked about Kieran Dell. He says he's not here because he got injured in La Manga, got his foot stuck in the grass apparently over the Rangers winter training camp. He said about Dowell, he'll be out for several weeks, I think around 2 months. That's long term, and that's a big blow. This is quite so frustrating, Chris, isn't it? I mean, Kieran Dell was someone that came in from the cold, and then you're thinking, oh, Rangers are getting a tune out of this lad. He is injury prone, as we all know. Not a tackle, anything like that. Getting his foot stuck in the grass in training. Just sums up Rangers' injury situation and out for 2 months. Ben Davis is another one. And the thing is, nobody's going to buy these players when they're injured in the January transfer window. I've seen some comments over the last week or so saying Rangers should look to move these guys on. They're not going to be doing that if they're out injured.
No, they're not. Their injured players are officially no use to anyone. They're not used to potential employers, and they're certainly no use to Rangers in football and financial terms. This is not sustainable for Rangers. I've said before, it's not the players' fault. Every player within that squad, they want to be playing. They want to be playing cup finals and Old Firm games and European games, and there's a lot to play for at Rangers in the second half of the season. Everyone within that squad will want to play their part. So it's not like questioning their commitment to the cause, if you like. But this level of injuries, I say, it's not sustainable for Rangers. It's going to cost them more silverware. It has cost them silverware over the last couple of seasons. You have to feel sorry for the guys that have picked these knocks, but it is a problem that we do have to get to the bottom of. The manager can reference that last night. He said he wants everyone fit. It's something that we're aware of in the club. It's something that we're working on. It's going to be a longer term fix though. It's not. I think I asked him that maybe 3-4 weeks into his reign. There's also a lot of injury chat early on, and he spoke about it being a longer term process. It has to be something that is addressed over several months and heading into next season. It's not just a quick fix, but it is something that has to be fixed, because Rangers simply can't afford to carry this number of players who are not contributing. It's not good in terms of the balance sheet, and it's certainly not good in terms of trying to win trophies. I think that the side that started last night, over the next couple of games, that's going to be the core of the group, because yes, Barisic was back and Lawrence was back and Ryan Jack was back. As the manager said pre-match on RTV when he announced the news about Dowell and Sterling, just because they're in the squad doesn't mean to say they can go and play 90 minutes. And look how long it took, like I said, Danilo to get it back up to speed and to play 90 minutes after his injury. So it will take these guys a bit of time. If Dowell is going to be sidelined for 2 months, you then potentially into March, how much football is he actually going to play between now and the end of the season? How much of an impact is he going to be able to make? So I think we can rule out him for the foreseeable. Obviously, the same comes with Danilo. The manager updated him the other day there. Kamal Roof, who knows? Even if he's fit, how long can you actually get out of him? So there's a lot of question marks over a lot of members of the squad. It needs addressed in terms of the training and what they're doing. That's also something for the manager. It needs addressed in terms of the recruitment side of it as well, because players come with certain risks. Rangers knew when they signed Kamal Roof there was a risk there. Rangers knew when they signed Kieran Dowell there was a risk there. You take the chance. If it goes well, great, because we've seen these guys can contribute. If it doesn't, you end up with guys who are spending more time on the treatment table than in the dressing room, unfortunately.
Yeah, huge thanks to those who have indicated that I never had my mic on earlier. Your mic not on, Derek. I've now, it was plugged into the wrong port, so thank you very much for bringing that to my attention, guys. And Dave says, glad it's not just me. Derek sounds like he's broadcasting from a broom cupboard. So the mic is plugged in properly now, folks, so we can carry on. Just off the back of that question on injuries, Clement asked, how encouraging is it to have those midfield options available? Of course, as you mentioned there, Chris, Ryan Jack returning from injury says, I want everybody fit. I have a really good track record in that way, in that all my teams until I came here, I had an availability at the end of the season of more than 90% of the players in the training and in the games. That is what I want to create here also, but we need to change to get a few things in the club. We are really busy with that to make things better. He was also asked about transfers. We'll kick off with Ridvan Yilmaz. He was asked, do you expect Ridvan to still be with the club by the time the window ends? This is after a lot of noise about Ridvan moving away from the club. Galatasaray with some serious interest in reports in Turkey suggesting they're coming back with an improved bid, even suggesting that Ridvan and Galatasaray have agreed terms, and it's just up to Rangers to put the seal on it. He says, I cannot respond on that for any player who is here. I am busy with one thing. Everybody who is here is a player of Rangers, and I commit fully with all the staff to get the best out of them. But for every player at Rangers, if there comes an offer that cannot be refused or is a good thing for the club, then we need to discuss it. At the moment, that is not the case. Ridvan is here, and he started the game. He was then asked, is he a player you'd like to keep if you can? We will see. Players also need to show they really want to be here the next couple of months. We need to be prepared for everything, for every position also, and make sure that we have solutions. That is one position that we have two players. One is at the end of his contract. The other one is here. There is a lot of rumours around. So it is clear that we need to be ready for that position. We cannot go into 3 competitions with one left back. And in other positions, it is the same. Interesting point there. That tells me that, Borna is in his final year of his deal. Don't think he's getting offered a new one. He is free to talk to other clubs. Ridvan, I've got to say, with the noise surrounding him, Chris, I would probably be surprised if he's still a Rangers player come the close of the window. I wouldn't be disappointed if that was the case. Of course, he played last night. Rangers, we know, are looking at potential replacements out there, but what do we think on Ridvan from what the manager said last night? Is he resigned to losing him, do you think?
A case of there's no smoke without fire, I think, on this one. There's been enough chat about Ridvan potentially leaving. There's been enough chat about Rangers' potential interest in a number of left backs, as you say, Derek. So I think there's definitely something afoot here. Personally, I wouldn't be that disappointed if it happened. I think if Rangers can get their money back, make a bit of profit on him potentially, then I think it would make a lot of sense. I know he has started to come onto a game. I thought he was impressive again last night. But over the course of his Rangers career, he's not shown enough for me to suggest he's going to be a long-term option at left back. We still don't know if he can churn out the games. They look at Tav on the other side. Ridvan's never looked anything like being able to put together that number of games. So I think the money could be used in a better way. I'd like to see that position strengthened and recycled a bit, because I think that left back area has gone a bit stale over the last couple of seasons. So whether that, I didn't really expect that to be one of the main talking points of January. I thought that might be something the manager would look to address in the summer. It seemed a more natural time to do it come the summer. But if that situation is brought forward to now because there's interest in him, Rangers may well just have to bite the bullet, allow him to move on. But as the manager hinted at last night, that could only happen if a replacement is in the building. Rangers simply can't be left with only Borna Barisic at left back for the second half of the season. So they need to have either someone in the building before he leaves, or have a deal all but 99% signed and sealed to get someone in to provide a bit of cover, or to come in and start to strengthen that area before Ridvan's allowed to leave. It would be madness for Rangers to leave themselves that short. But as Tim says in the comment there, if they can get a decent fee, reinvest in a different area of the pitch, maybe just get a loan in until the end of the season just to see them through. I don't think the left back will make or break Rangers title chances, a striker could make or break Rangers title chances. That's where money needs spent this month. So I think if they could do that, get Ridvan out, strengthen the final third again, get someone else in either to replace him in terms of the squad or the starting lineup, I think that would be a decent way to end this window. But it certainly wasn't a no from the manager last night in terms of saying he's going nowhere. There's clearly interest from Italy, clearly interest from Turkey as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're in the final fortnight or so of Ridvan's Rangers career.
Yeah, I was told last week that he doesn't want to go back to Turkey, and if he does, then Besiktas are likely to make a move. But Galatasaray are looking for a left back. It would take big cojones for him to go to Galatasaray, given that he's a Besiktas lad. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. All accounts, as I mentioned there, in Turkey suggest that Galatasaray closing in on a deal for him, but Rangers is a position that they need to get sorted out because, well, he's not a part of the European squad. Born has obviously come back, which is, I guess, a plus. But I think Rangers do need another body in there. There's no doubt about it going forward. Just generally on transfers, he was asked, Clement, is it frustrating how long it's taking to get transfers over the line? That's a nice question. Maybe when I was 20 years younger, I would respond in the way you want. No, I know this period. It's nothing new. One of the reasons I came to this club was the talks with everybody inside the club who takes decisions was really good. I would be involved in everything, and that is the case. I hear every detail about every talk and everything that is going closer to signing or not. I know everything. I cannot ask for more. I know that everybody is working day and night. I see it also in the hours that they call me or send me messages. I am not frustrated. I want the best for the club. I want the best for the group. And I know everybody is working really hard for that. If it is tomorrow or it is January the 31st, that is difficult because we don't control these things. We can only work really hard for them. So there you go. Some interesting stuff there from the manager. I think it's clear. But there's questions coming in as well about where is Adam Devine. I've seen someone messaged me last night, Chris. I've had a few comments over a few videos as well. I've not seen him in La Manga or last night. Was there any murmurings as to where Adam Devine could be? That could potentially be an option for Rangers at left back if they need to call upon him.
There wasn't. I saw there was a couple of comments on the video last night saying that he picked up a knock and he was injured, but I've not heard anything on it. He seems to have fallen out of the picture over the last couple of months. And someone who ran up this time last year was being touted as a potential successor for Tav. Never mind, just a squad player, but that's about Sterling coming in and looking the part, both in right back and also certainly in midfield. It's hard to see where Devine gets his football now, and he just seems to be in that kind of grey area, much like Leon King also came in and played right back last night. These guys, it's just in and around the squad, always hoping to get a chance, but potentially never actually going to get it. So I don't see Devine being the answer. I don't think the manager would see him as the answer. I think if Ridvan does move on, they'll look to strengthen, they'll look to bring someone in, and then come the summer, I think we'll see a bit more work done on that left back area. Just on younger players, though, we always get questions about Zach Lovelace.
Yes.
Last week, he's back on the pitch doing some running. He's striking the ball, but he's still going through a few procedures as part of his rehab. So he's working away at it, but not someone who we can expect to see first team wise anytime soon.
Thanks for that update. And Scott, just on Devine says Devine should leave on loan if the opportunity comes about. Others are clearly ahead of him. Yep, absolutely, Scott. I think a loan deal would suit Devine. It's no use him not playing games. Another interesting news point that was coming out last night, I discussed this with Stevie on the show yesterday morning, Chris, was Rangers and Celtic meeting around the table to discuss the return of an away allocation for the upcoming Old Firm clashes, the first being at Ibrox on schedule for Saturday the 6th of April. According to STV, Celtic will still refuse a 700 ticket allocation due to safety concerns. They're keen for a more traditional return of around 7,500 supporters. Where do you see this one going?
It's not going to end up with 8,000 Celtic fans in Ibrox for the next Old Firm game. It's not going to end up with 8,000 Celtic fans inside Ibrox for an Old Firm game anytime soon. It's just not going to happen. The Rangers, the reasons for the change in allocation has also been well discussed. We've spoken about a number of times on the show. I would like to see something happen. I think an Old Firm game with no away fans there is a poor spectacle. It doesn't showcase the fixture, doesn't showcase the game, and it's not part of the Old Firm experience. As a couple of comments are saying there, I think a Euro allocation is probably the happy medium. I think the 750, 800 or so, it's been something, but it's certainly not been great. The old allocations of like 7,500, 8,000, they were far better spectacles, but time has moved on. Seating plans have changed, obviously. Rangers have sold season tickets in that area. It's not as easy just to say we're taking them back off you because we're giving them to Celtic fans for those fixtures. So I think there's maybe a compromise somewhere in the middle that would give them a European style allocation of 2,500 or so. I think that would add to the spectacle. It would add to the sense of occasion. It would add to it from a TV perspective and give the Old Firm back one of its unique selling points, without then causing too many issues in terms of season ticket holders and obviously financial repercussions. So Rangers have made their stance really clear on this. They want away fans in the stadium. They were very clear on how the situation unfolded for the Parkhead game a couple of weeks ago. They were not happy about it. Certainly unhappy with the way that it was handled by the governing body. And I think Rangers were quite right to make that. One, they were quite right to ask for the tickets. Two, they were quite right to take it through the due process. And three, they're certainly right to make their feelings clear at the end of that process, because it was an unacceptable and unsatisfactory outcome. So hopefully the clubs can sit down, discuss it, and find some way of getting away fans back into these games. But if Rangers set out their stall at 800 and Celtic set out their stall at 8,000, there's a middle ground in there, but it's not going to be like 4,000. I think as a few of the guys are saying, I think a Euro style allocation is probably the best that both clubs could hope to achieve for Ibrox and for Parkhead.
Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus in the comments as well. Ross Nielsen with a point here. He says European allocation that Dortmund got would be enough, 2,500 or round about that. So listen, I think most would like to see a return of an away allocation in these games. I have said before, when I speak to people down south, they can't believe that there's no away fans at these games. What makes the Old Firm derby what it is. You speak to players that have played in it as well. I remember doing a piece last season, speaking to Natural Nova, Davy Robertson and Gregory Vignal, incidentally, and they said that it gave them such a lift. Even that small band of Rangers supporters in Parkhead, it really gave them that energy boost heading out, and they wanted just to silence the vast majority inside Parkhead. So one to keep an eye on, as I mentioned, that next Old Firm game taking place on Saturday the 6th of April. Right, folks, that'll do us there. Huge thanks to Chris as ever, and huge thanks to everyone for interacting with the programme. Also, plenty on the website from last night to chew upon. Lots of reaction as well on the YouTube channel. Also, remember that two-part interview that Joshua did with James Tavernier is on there. If you haven't checked it out already, I'd urge you to do so. Hopefully, we'll be back at some point. Maybe keep your eyes peeled on the Rangers social media accounts and the website and the YouTube channel as well, folks. Maybe a members video coming your way for the members later on today. There will be a Q&A, incidentally, myself and Adam Thornton on tomorrow. So get your questions in and we'll answer as many as we possibly can. If we don't speak to you later on, then we'll speak to you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Bye for now.